Okay, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. I am always excited when young Bronxites who are talented and smart and doing the right thing and doing good things come on our program. He's so embarrassed, but he's very nice. Matty Sanchez is with us. Nice to have you with us, Matty.
Pleasure's all mine.
So, all right, now I'm going to just let you speak. Why did we call you? What have you been working on that really is really worth talking about?
Yeah, so I'm a music artist, but at heart I'm a poet. And for about 2 years now, about 4 years, I've been writing poetry. And recently, over this year, I started getting more serious about music, and I've been developing an album in the Bronx here with my production company with Cash Productions. And we're really excited. We're really excited for what we have prepared for the world, and yeah, and that's why we're doing it.
Just a little particulars in the background. What neighborhood you live in? Where do you go to school? I mean, people of the Bronx, we can relate when they start hearing home.
Right, right.
We know who we are. So go ahead, Matty. Tell us what's up.
Yeah, yeah. So I was born and raised here in the Bronx. I grew up in Fordham. I used to live on a block called Decatur. A lot of people are familiar with that area. That area was full of life when I was a kid. Growing up from maybe like 8 years old to maybe about 12, we used to live there, and then we moved to Westchester Square. Um, and then from Westchester Square, we moved to Soundview,
Hmm.
which is where I live now.
That's where you are now. And where'd you go to school?
So I went to John F. Kennedy campus my freshman year of high school. There's a school called Beta, Bronx
Hmm.
Engineering Technology Academy. Uh, Shout out to the Kennedy Knights for that one. And so I did my freshman and my sophomore year there, and then I ended up going to my junior year at JVL Wildcat Charter School located in Manhattan.
Mhm. What I really want to get at is where did you get the inspiration? One of the things that came up in an article we could credit our friends at the Bronx Times was Urban Word NYC. What
Yeah.
motivated you? What got you going? So you were like, other than just had this idea in your head that you'd put it out.
Yeah, so my poetry is very it talks about racial things, it talks about depression, it talks about mental health, and that's something that I've struggled with my whole life. Um and so I literally saw a video one day of someone performing spoken word poetry, and I was like, man, I want to do that. And I connected with Urban Word NYC through a mentor of mine. And so that's how that relationship started with everything.
Had you ever thought that you were going to be the guy who was going to be making the music? You had the ideas in your head, but did you say, wow, that is me, or this was something you learned to be? Well, like,
It was definitely something I learned to be. I gave a poem one day. I did a poem, and a kid came up to me afterwards, and he said, "I think you should make music." And I only started music because of that kid.
is it tuneful music, or is it music that is good because of its rhythm and its impact? In other words, are you a real singer in that way, or are you really? I don't want to characterize it. How do you see it as a musician?
how I s- how It's like pop, hip hop. Um, it's
All right.
exciting. Exciting.
All
It's
right.
exciting
So
what
when are we going to? You know what? Let's do this. Let's play a clip of a spoken word thing that
Yeah,
is very powerful and dramatic. We're going to do that, and then we'll come back, and then we'll talk about the transition into music. Does that work?
that sounds great.
Great. Okay. So here it is. Do we have a title for this? You can give it the title.
Yes, to my father who was never around.
Unfortunately, something I think many of us can relate to.
Yeah.
So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Please enjoy Matty Sanchez.
To my father who was never around. I've spent most of my life wondering what my life would have been like had I been raised by you. Days in which I would wonder how it would have felt to play catch with the man I would hope to become like one day when I was younger, I would imagine. Playing football on the football field. Running and jumping, hike, he might say. And ever so swiftly, I would dash to the 40-yard line to make a cut. So quick, they would have been calling me OBJ, but again, I'm only imagining. Days where I would then sit down in front of you and learn what it was you thought it meant to be a man, but you were never around. When I was younger, I was wondering how I was going to become something I've never seen, something I've never felt, something I've never heard. It was because of your absence that made me insecure as a child. I would see other children playing catch with their fathers, young boys playing catch with their dads, but I don't blame you. I'm sure if it wasn't for the system, your desire to be pleased was the only thing you were thinking about. You left me, my brother, and my sister alone with no father. Without that king and queen, I probably wouldn't even be here now. But I've grown from that young, insecure boy. Now I can understand how perhaps raising two young kings and a queen wasn't something you knew how to do. Perhaps your father wasn't around and he left you too. So of course, it only makes sense that you did the one thing you knew exactly how to do, and that's leave.
Well, there you go, Matty. And it really is powerful. It's informative. Is it difficult to get to a point where you can write and speak in public something as personal and important as that?
It definitely is. There is not only a responsibility to myself to tell my own story, but and also there's a responsibility to other people to just deliver it in the best way that I can, because sometimes my poetry isn't about me, but I want to speak for people who can't speak for themselves as well.
Uh, and being able to articulate it says a lot about you and says a lot about what you're working on. So now let's get back. Maybe my question wasn't specific enough. Talk about the transition of saying, well, wait a minute, this is good spoken word. I'm going to turn it into music. Like what you had to get players. What'd you do?
Yeah. So basically, the process has been in my closet. Let's get straight. In my closet. I wrote songs for maybe 30 songs a week. I was writing songs.
Wow.
And I was just throwing it on my Instagram. I didn't really care about, I was just making music at that point. And mentors came into my life, people who are on our production team, and they kind of shaped what I was already doing, into a mold and gave me structure to the point where for me to give them an idea, I would go into my closet, record into an app that allows me to record the music and lay over multiple vocals. And I will put that and condense it into an MP3 file and send it to them, and that's how the idea, and that's how they first believed in me, was off of a voice memo.
But you know what I really appreciate, I got to tell you, is that you weren't somebody, and not that there's anything wrong with getting, however you get there, but you weren't one of these people who said, I think I want to be a musician. I'm going to be famous. I'm going to tell that it just had an organic development, and you were like riding down the stream and said, oh, well, now this is what I probably ought to be doing. Right? Do I have that right?
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened.
So now let's see, you've done the spoken word, people can see that. When will we see, let's say, the next step, so to speak, or when is Gary going to get the music? That's what I'm really asking. I want to hear what you're doing.
Yeah, so stay in tune. Coming up at maybe the end of February, middle of March, we're dropping a single called Tonight. It's gonna be very, very big. It's such a good song. I wish that we could play it for you.
Could you sing something for us now? I do that, and most people hate. But if it's not going to work, it's okay too.
I don't think I can.
All right, fair enough. That's okay. That's cool.
Yeah, but it's an amazing song. It just talks about like just having fun and living life, and I think it's going to be a big song, especially for what we're going through.
Matty, I got to tell you, and I sit in this seat and I've been here for a very long time. What you're talking about social justice, about growing up with some difficulties with maybe not a traditional family that people see on TV all the time. Right. I hear this all the time. This is if you are in tune with the BX, with our hometown, this is what's happening. And when I hear young people like you doing this stuff. And I'm sure that's why the people around you related to it, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, Maybe you could talk just briefly about what this means to you and why it's important to communicate the things that you were talking about. Because really, the music, the spoken word, the CDs, whatever it is, it's really all aside from what we're talking about, right? I know who I'm talking to here.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a very emotional person. I think that's how I'll start to answer that question. Um, the music and the poetry, um, for me, it's about ending the generational things that have gone on. Abuse in families, trauma growing up as a kid. I experienced all of those things growing up, and so for me to be able to put that into music and the words, and to be able to affect people, create change, help people change their mind about certain things that they can unlearn, I think is very important to me, and that's what I try to put through in my work.
This is so important, and I'm going to add one more thing, which you established first but didn't mention it. There is this systemic racism and issues that are out there that just affect all that. It's like boom, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
anyway, listen, we love you, man. You are great, and the BronxNet and the Bronx Buzz and everybody here wants to support whatever you're doing. So don't lose our phone numbers, don't lose our emails. Gary wants to hear it, and we'll do something with it when it comes out. Ladies and gentlemen, Matty Sanchez, is there a place people can find you on the web or wherever?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at Matty Matty .Sanchez A. That's my Instagram. And if you want to follow the poetry, it's at _TOTMI.
Listen, Matty, great. You lead. I'll get right online to follow. You're doing great.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. All right, great show tonight. We did you a little information, a little bit of fun, find out what young people in the Bronx are really thinking, saying, and doing.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week. This week on Bronx Talk, we're going to be talking about ranked choice voting. Should be very interesting. See you. Good night.